Nuzlocke is a way to play Pokemon that makes it a million times harder. Any Pokemon that dies in a Nuzlocke run is dead forever. So you also must name your Pokemon as you capture them. That way it hurts when they die, and hopefully live, but most of the time they die. Thirdly, you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in each route, which makes it very difficult to build an optimal team, and it's very tricky to get good Pokemon. So today we're going to be doing a Nuzlocke of Pokemon HeartGold and hopefully making it all the way to becoming champion. Let's see how we turn out, and thank you guys for tuning in. Oh yeah, and to make it just a little bit harder, I randomized the entire thing. Guys, what's going on? We're starting our Nuzlocke today. I'm so excited. We're jumping right in with starters. Our options so far are Abra, which is sick because I love Abra. Machop, who's really cool, another Kanto starter. The criteria I gave the randomizer was a basic Pokemon with 2 evolutions, so it's going to be like low-level Pokemon. Poliwag, okay. Pretty cool overall. It's funny that we got 2 fighting type options and a psychic. These are kind of off-brand. That's the whole point of the randomizer, to give you different Pokemon to start with. I love the idea of having an Abra. Actually, it's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. So we get the Abra, of course. And as we go through this, guys, as we capture new Pokemon, I want your guys' input on who we should use. I want ideas for nicknames, all that. I named my Abra Kazza because in the first Pokemon games, you can actually trade for an Abra and you can get a Kadabra. Sorry, you can trade for a Kadabra and its name is Kazza. So I've always named every single Abra, Kadabra, or Alakazam I ever get that ever since then. So me and Kazza set out on a wonderful adventure to go to Mr. Pokemon's house to secure a Pokemon egg that will also have a random Pokemon. We encounter a Wooper, which we would catch as our first encounter, but with our rules, we don't have any Pokeballs yet. So anyway, the rules are the first Pokemon we run into on each route we can add to our team. Unless it's a duplicate, then we can reroll once. So Wooper would be our catch here, but we don't have any Pokeballs yet. So we're gonna have to hold off a little bit, which is okay because Wooper kind of sucks. So the fun thing about this randomizer is everything we're going to run into is random. The trainers are going to have crazy random Pokemon. The Pokemon we're going to catch are going to be random. I might find a wild Charmander as my first Pokemon. Who knows? The limits are nowhere to be found. So it's a really open-ended thing, but it's also easy to lose because sometimes your gym leaders, especially in this game, will have crazy strong Pokemon. Like Faulkner usually has a Pidgeotto, and I replaced all Pokemon with a Pokemon of similar strength. Pidgeotto's an already evolved Pokemon, so I don't know exactly what we're going to fight against, but it's not going to be a basic level Pokemon as we run into another Wooper. Get out of here, man. So as we go and fight Faulkner, he's going to have at least one pretty strong Pokemon. It could be like a Kadabra. It could be like a Haunter. It's going to be at least probably a tier 2 level Pokemon. So we got to be a little careful because it's easy to get one-shotted. Another thing you guys should know about this randomizer, I randomized the moves. So the randomized moves aren't completely random. They'll keep the Pokemon same type in mind. So if it's a water type Pokemon, it's going to learn things like Hydro Pump, Waterfall, stuff like that. But there will be one-off things, and you'd be surprised what Pokemon will randomly learn. I've had Nidokings and stuff like that before learn Fire Blast and crazy things like that. So it will be a little different with the movesets. But also, this makes a lot of Pokemon viable because there's usually a lot of Pokemon that are good Pokemon or okay Pokemon, but have terrible moves. There's a long list, but like Torkoal, for example, comes to mind. He has decent base stats, pretty good defense and stuff like that, but his moveset's terrible. So with improved movesets, some of these Pokemon will be a lot more viable. So our goal for the first episode is going to be at least to get to Mr. Pokemon's house, secure the Pokemon egg, bring it back to the professor, and officially start our Nuzlocke run. Hopefully we don't die on the way. Technically in most Nuzlocke runs, you don't start the timer until you get your Pokeballs, but for the purposes of this, we'll say if I black out, we're going to have to start over and we'll just regenerate with a new starting pool and we'll pick a new starter. I don't think Abra's going to let me down. As you guys can see, he knows Body Slam, which is not bad for a starting move. I do wish it wasn't just a normal type move and a physical type. I don't know how into Pokemon you guys are. If you're watching a Nuzlocke, I'd assume you have some base knowledge here. Body Slam is a solid move, but it's a physical type move, and Abra is all about special attack, so it'd be much better if we had Confusion or even like fire attacks or anything elemental would have been fine. We just didn't really want a physical move. Hopefully we can learn a new move here, and then Abra should be a powerhouse. If you're wondering the obvious thing, will Abra ever be able to beat Alakazam because I can't trade? That's a rightful worry, but I have good news for you. There's also a setting in this randomizer to turn off impossible evolutions. Impossible evolutions are ones you could not get if you're playing the game by yourself, like trading and stuff like that. So Abra would, in theory, evolve the Kadabra at 16, and then once again into Alakazam at 40. Now, the really cool thing about a Nuzlocke, I know I've said how many cool things there are, there's a lot of cool things, but one of the really great things is you never know what your team's going to end up becoming, right? Like, everyone usually has a staple go-to team. For me, like Pokemon that come to mind, I love Feraligatr, Gengar, Dragonite. I like a lot of the older Pokemon. You know, I usually get a Blastoise, stuff like that. Everyone kind of has a couple Pokemon they always go for, but when's the last time you did a run and you got to the Pokemon League using like Sunflora? or like Hoot Hoot and then Noctowl, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of Pokemon in the game that just don't get used, you know what I mean? Like I would say probably about 30% of the Pokemon make up 90% of most people's teams. Some people like random Pokemon. Everyone has that one obscure Pokemon that they like. Everyone does. My little brother's favorite Pokemon is like Joltik. It's the weirdest, most useless Pokemon, right? For me, I have a really big soft spot besides like obviously Abra, which I told you guys I love. I have a weird soft spot for Heracross, right? He's okay. He's not terrible, but he's definitely not mainstream and he's not often used. I don't know. I just love him. I've loved him since the anime and I'll keep loving him. He's just my guy. All right. So drop in the comments who your guys' favorite Pokemon is, the weird obscure one. I don't care. Everyone loves Charizard and all that. I don't care about that. I know everyone has one Pokemon that no one else likes, but they love it. So let me know what that is down below. And then maybe we'll catch one of them and I can name it after you. So anyway, the idea is you end up with this crazy cobbled together team that you would otherwise have never built. It's supposed to somewhat simulate Ash's journey. He doesn't go out there and go, all right, I'm going to get 6 dragon type Pokemon. He just ends up catching whatever he runs into. He passes by on a lot of things. So we're going to end up with a weird team. Like, who knows? Maybe we'll end up getting Kricketot as our first Pokemon. That would be funny. And the idea is we give them super fun nicknames that make us love them. And then when they die, we all cry. Whoa, he knew ShadowFrost? That's actually crazy. Okay, that is a really good example of why random moves are dangerous. Look how close we get to dying here. And as long as we run away, we're good. But my God, that was dangerous. That's what can happen in a randomizer. Your run can end at any time. You get one-shotted all the time. You'll run into a random Pokemon that usually sucks, but it knows a super effective move against you, and it can absolutely ruin your run. I did keep the typing the same, so every Pokemon's gonna have their basic typing. That's something in future randomizers we could always mix up, but usually it gets really confusing because you can't tell that they're a different type. So you'll run into like a Charizard and you're like, okay, maybe it's a fire type, and it'll be like a ghost type Charizard, but the sprite doesn't look purple or anything. So the randomizer I use, unfortunately, does not give you any indication of what that Pokemon might be, right? Like we're looking at Taylor, you're like, that's probably a flying type, it's a bird, right? That makes sense. Brave Bird is crazy. Wow. Okay, this game is trying to end us already, and we haven't even really started. That's 2 Pokemon in a row that had crazy moves. Why couldn't we know something like that? Why couldn't we know like Psychic off the bat? I mean, I guess it could be worse. We could know like Future Sight. That would have sucked. Because if you don't know, Future Sight doesn't attack until like 2 or 3 turns in the future. That would have been horrible. All right, continuing on. This is level 2 Nidoran. Bad Shadow. That Nidoran girl. That would be a great Pokemon. I love Nidoqueen, I love Nidoking. And with randomized movesets, those 2 get a lot better because they can end up not getting such crappy poison type moves. I probably should have included this earlier, but this will randomize all Pokemon. I believe it's gens 1 through 6. So it's not just generations 1, 2, and 3, which is normally what's in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It's actually going to have the first 6 generations of Pokemon, including all the legendaries and stuff like that. Now, I did leave it so legendaries can appear randomly, and we made it to Mr. Pokemon's house, by the way. Let's go. I did make it so legendaries can appear randomly, but I made it similar strength, so we should run into Pokemon about the normal level. But when we get farther in the game, we'll find much better stuff. We made it to Mr. Pokemon's house. We're getting our Pokédex from Professor Oak because he sees our potential as a Pokemon champion, which he does not know how bad we're probably going to actually fail this run, but let's go with it. We're going to believe in ourselves too here. Us and Kazza have the ability to become legends. We just got to get some friends along the way. Who knows what they'll be? Maybe they'll be Magikarps, maybe they'll be Squirtles, maybe they'll be awesome Pokemon, maybe they'll be terrible. We're going to find out. So we're headed back. We just got to talk to the professor and we'll officially get our Pokeballs and we can start our Pokemon journey and start catching some more monsters to get killed in combat. All right, so our Nuzlocke's off to a really strong start, guys. We have a really good starter Pokemon, which gives us an anchor to the team, which is super important because sometimes your starter options are awful. We have a Wynut right here. We are not going to die to it. It tends to move in a pack. Individuals squash against one another to toughen their spirits. That's kind of cute, actually. But, you know, see, that's an example of a Pokemon I really don't want and I would never use in a normal game. So hopefully Wynut's not the first Pokemon we run into once we secure Pokeballs. My luck, it will be Wynut and we'll name it something like trash. I don't know. All right, so we're going to work our way back. We're going to level up. Hopefully we can get a new move before we get our rival battle. I really don't think it'll be a problem, but you never know. If it's like Machamp or Machop should not be a problem because Machop's fighting type, so really can't think of any move he would know. Except for, I think, Seismic Toss maybe does based on your level, so no, that wouldn't matter either. All right, anyway, here we are. Rival battle. I skipped ahead a little bit because it was dragging a little bit. We're going to name him something. Question for now. He's a thief and a giant baby, and we're going to fight him. We're going to kick his butt with Kazza. All right, So, okay, Poliwag. That's worse for us, but shouldn't be a huge deal. Poliwrath might be a problem later down the line. Body Slam, we're good here. We're level 7, he's level 5. Paralyzed, like, this is free. There's really... Bro. No effing way. Okay, we live. We might be cooked if we're crit. Oh my god, he knows Hydro Pump. How can that be, bro? We made the wrong choice. That little wag right there, that little tadpole is a mean son of a biscuit. We probably should have picked the tadpole. The angry tadpole. I wish we could name his Pokemon. Okay. Kazza secured the dub. Do we learn a new move? We do not, because Kazza hates us and it wants us to regret not picking angry tadpole. Kazza, I love you, but I really need you to get a little bit stronger for us. What the heck, man? Okay. So we beat Angry Tadpole, we beat Question, who we're about to name in a minute, and we've almost come to the conclusion of our first episode. If you guys did enjoy the Nuzlocke, it gets harder, it gets crazier. Trust me, tensions will rise, things we love will die. We'll find things we love, which is the start of the whole thing, but I really wanted to lay out a first episode so some of you guys understood, if you're not familiar with the Nuzlocke, what a Nuzlocke is, what my rules are going to be, what to expect going forward, and hopefully we can build a fun, engaging community Nuzlocke together. I want you guys to be a part of this. I don't want this just to be me talking to myself all the time. I want you guys to comment on the Pokemon you like and you want to see me use. I want you guys to comment on the things I should name them. Give me funny names for them and I'll throw them in as much as I can. So I really don't know how the series is going to perform. I'm happy you guys are watching. I'm grateful for you, and we're going to try to make it good. Here's the trash bag of all trash bags. Rattata's probably the worst Pokemon ever created. I really can't think of a worse one off the top of my head. Raticate's only okay because Hyper Fang, but in general, Rattata is trash. I don't know, Rattata or Rattata? I don't know what you're supposed to call it. I think Rattata is technically correct, but I grew up calling it Rattata. Alright, so we're fighting off this little sparrow here. Kazza's looking buff. We're slaying these level 3 things. Absolutely no problem. Kazza's starting to fill out. Level 9, new move. Low-key starting to regret Kazza like this much. Maybe just like a little bit. Alright, a little Combi, a little Beekeeper baby. We're going to head back. We're going to get our Pokeballs. And I wonder what the first thing we're going to find is. I'm trying to think of all the things we've seen. What would be my favorite one we found so far? Pidgey's kind of cool, but the problem is everyone's done it before. If you catch it, like when you're playing Red or Fire Red or whatever, you always catch a Pidgey. You get a Pidgeot, it's one of the first Pokemon you catch. It's solid-ish. It gets you through the grass gym. Usually, Pidgey, like what I want to not have happen is pick all the same Pokemon I would usually pick. All right, so we're here to the professor who has suspiciously had someone break in, and it is our evil friend, Question, who we're about to name here. I'm trying to think what I should name him here. She saw a strange boy. Wow. That's kind of accusative. You don't even know the guy. All right, we'll just name him the rest of my name. I'm Shadow. We'll name him Frost. My YouTube is ShadowFrost. Easy enough, right? Next time I'll be a little more creative, I promise. All right, so Frost and his angry tadpole are out there. The ops are looking for him. The professor is super happy to have us. We delivered the egg for Mr. Pokemon. We're good guys. We did what we said we would do. Now it's time to go catch, hopefully not a Wynut or something else. We'll see. We're going to go. All right, we're going to go head out on our actual adventure now. The rules have been set. You guys know what to expect, and you understand where we're going from here. We've learned to love Kazza. I mean, we've learned to love Kazza. Kazza's kind of, but we're kind of jealous of Angry Tadpole. I mean, we hate Angry Tadpole. So we're going to continue on with our journey, knowing darn well we picked the best starting Pokemon out of the bunch. That Machop probably knew like some insane move. We probably picked the worst starter out of all of them. Kazza is going to be a large disappointment. All right, let's see what Homegirl gets here. This is randomized too. This is a fun little thing. It can be anything. It can be a legendary. Let's see what it is. Obviously, it does the little animation. Oh, whoops, I'll do it a little slower for you, Shadow. That way you don't know how to catch a Pokemon. Here we go, and she finds a... Bro, if our first Pokemon is a Rattata, I'm naming it Trash Can. I am. And I'm going to kill it on purpose. All right, so that proves my point. She literally one-shotted it by accident in the training tutorial. And with that, we've gotten our Pokeballs, our adventure started. Kazza, it's time to go make some new friends, but unfortunately for you guys, you'll have to wait till next time to see what we get, and you won't believe it.